Hey there, folks and friends, connecting dots here. It's Fukushima Day 1046. It's January the 20th, 2014. As you see on the screen above, that's the ending of my video of Fukushima Day 1045, where I was talking about Obama raising the permissible cancer death rates of Americans after drinking U.S. water for 30 years. It used to be 1 in 10,000. He raised the permissible cancer death rates to 1 in 23 after drinking water for only 30 years. And I stress how if you drank water for 60 years, which you most likely will, you've just doubled your odds of dying of cancer. Now, at the end of that video, I also pointed out how the U.S. nuke regulators had weakened safety rules. Every time there was a problem, all they did was weaken the rules to get around it. The article went on to talk about how time and time again the officials at the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission have decided that the original regulations were too strict. You can imagine that, too strict, arguing that safety margins could be eased without peril. Yeah, lo and behold, wouldn't you know, just as I'm making that video, Fukushima Day 1045, it was reported here on Energy News that on January the 18th, which was the day before, a fire breaks out at a nuclear plant. I can't believe it. And they had to close down the reactor. Look what people had to say. They reported how folks still have fears. And people are concerned considering how many accidents have happened within a 1 year time span. Unbelievable. Same as the train derailments. Anyone who's been paying attention to news, global news, or just national news, how many train derailments containing crude oil have taken place in the last year? Unbelievable the amount of accidents. And it's not bad enough there's accidents. Now you have these problems with all this old equipment that's decaying, pipes that have been underground for 30, 40 years, plants that are only designed to last for 30 years, and they keep getting extensions because, the regulatory commission just wants to weaken everything and keep it, maximize it as long as they can, and with leaks coming out everywhere, different places. I mean, it's not just here at these 48 plants. There's storage. We've all heard of Hanford. Like, what's going on here? These people don't care about anything except for profit. That's it. That's all they care about, profit. Look, they've even admitted that Hartford alone Hanford is leaking 300 gallons of radioactive waste per year. They're not doing anything. They don't plan on doing anything, and this is a major problem. I know some folks are saying, well, no, it's way over there. It's far from my place. It doesn't work like that, All these plants, no matter where they're stored, either it's storage tanks, underground storage tanks. There's the plants themselves, how they're leaking. It's just always working its way back to the ocean. Basically, it follows the water where the water goes, and we all know how that all works out, don't we? Everything flows to the ocean. We can't get away from that. So, you kind of hope you don't live upstream from the plant, but the fact is, if it doesn't get you on the way down to the, it's going to get you back in the food chain at some point. So I don't know if maybe it's not close to your home, and that's why you don't care. But the point I'm trying to drive home here, the ocean is our backyard. We're all feeding off of it, So we all have to care for it. And one of my big concerns is a story here that was published December 1st, 2013 on Energy News. And it was talking about a German, here, let me pull it up for you. It was a German study, and basically the conclusion of the study wasn't very good. And I have a feeling here we're in a lot of you-know-what, because you'll see with these images that have just been published from Japan itself. They're admitting here we have a full-on meltdown right past the containment vessel through the concrete floor, and that's a 5-foot concrete floor, so we have a major problem. But according to the study here, it says that the strontium levels stay near zero for the first 1,000 days, after which levels spike to dramatically and appear to remain elevated for the next 50,000 or so days. So the first 1,000 day was on December 1st. If we see spikes in strontium level, you better hold on, folks, because this study said that this is going to continue for another 50,000 days. What are the likelihood that this may happen? Very good. I'm, yeah, it's sad. It's not good. And what really concerns me is our faith. We're supposed to put our faith in TEPCO here, and they've already been caught lying and downplaying how many times? And again here, just January the 10th, again, TEPCO kept strontium data secret for months. And it's, it says around the Fukushima plant. They're talking directly here. These levels were found in the groundwater and at the port of Fukushima number 1. Okay, so like I promised here, there was images published by the embassy, and yeah, it's not good, really. They're admitting here that this is a full-on meltdown right past the containment vessel, past the 5-foot concrete floor. Okay, so I'll leave a link down below for the for this update, but it was published December 2013. And I'll be focusing on this image here that they put out. Basically, they're letting us know that we have a China syndrome, folks. Okay, so first off, we have these leaking tanks. I'm sure many of you are aware here. They have admitted already that the saucer that's right below these tanks to collect any type of leak should take place. Well, the saucer had leaked already 300 tons of water because they forgot to close the valve. Can you imagine that? I swear to God, sometimes I read the headlines on the stories that come out from Fukushima, and it's like a storyline from Dumb and Dumber. Unbelievable, the things that take place here. So anyways, they left the tank, the valve open. They've admitted 300 tons of water that's leaked out here initially, and now they have ongoing leaking tanks. They've admitted they're cheaply constructed. They're going to have to come up with another solution. Okay, and to make matters worse, these images are now showing that the molten fuel has definitely entered the ground below the plant. And I kind of question this drawing, because if you take a look at the bottom there where it's all red, that red blob, you see all of a sudden it's leaking out towards the ocean. Exit stage right. I just don't see it happen like that. China syndrome's more directly. I can see the other water flow that's, we'll go through the rock and it's leading down, the regular ground water flow, which is apparently carrying out 400 tons per day into the ocean. And now we have these 3 nuclear plants that are melted down. They don't know where the core is, and they're putting out these pictures. I'm assuming here, and I think I've said this long ago, because when we first started with this Fukushima thing, many of you may recall I was running a nightly Pal Talk show on this whole situation. We even had a nightly guest for a long time who worked at a nuclear plant, a 13-year veteran from the cleanup crew. And I said a long time ago that if this is an actual meltdown, they will walk away from this. And Buddy has the same story here. Yeah, I realize I shouldn't call him Buddy, but you know what I mean. He's a nuclear engineer, and he's saying the same thing, that he believes they're just going to walk away and say, sorry, there's nothing we can do, because honestly, it's at that point. We're going to have an ongoing meltdown. How are they supposed to deal with this? Think about it. Okay, they can deal with the tanks on top. I realize that. But they still have a problem with this molten fuel that's leaked, that's melted down past, like I said, the 5-foot concrete floor, and it's entered the bedrock now, and it's on its loose. There's nothing they can do except continue pouring the 300 tons that they keep losing every day. They have no choice to keep this action going on, because if they stop, we're going to have major problems here. But the fact is, how are they going to get at this? The only way they can get at it is to dig underground tunnels, and they'd have to build in advance, build up a base there, and end up capturing the molten fuel as it. I just don't see that happening, folks. I think they're just going to let this melt away. That's my bet. So the number one thing I hear in all my videos is how there's a lack of publicity. The media's on this. We have an ongoing crisis. We're 1,046 days into it, and it's hush, hush, hush. It's only once in a while they'll come out and say something about it, And to make matters worse, for example, up here in Canada, we have the government that's withholding the data. Can you imagine? And when they do tell you, they downplay the whole situation. And that's what that video of Fukushima at 1045 was all about, because we had this scientist here, and I'll be showing you pictures on him in a second ago. In a second, I mean, and he was talking about his albacore samples. He only took about a dozen of these albacore samples, and he was willing to eat some of the samples. Not necessarily all of them, but some of them. And he still found trace amounts of it. And this situation, we're just at the beginning of it. That's kind of why I wanted to post that story on the Strontium, because you all get a grasp here that we're just heading into the thick of it. I believe all of our marine oceans are going to be eventually polluted with this damn radioactive strontium and every other emitting particle that's going to radiate and mutate and, yeah, kill. Unbelievable here, and not a single word from our media. No, hush, shh. And the reason I'm saying we're just starting is because according to this German study, the highest levels of strontium apparently aren't going to show up for about another 4,000 days from now. So yeah, you have something to look forward to. And then there's always the 400 tons a day of toxic water that's leaking. It just, yeah. Just eat the fish, folks, no problem. Yeah, and in case you missed it, here it is again.
Delvin Neville is a PhD candidate in radiation health physics at Oregon State University. He's analyzed dozens of samples of albacore tuna since the meltdown. He's found cesium levels that are so low that he's felt comfortable eating some of his samples.
Which was actually kind of fun, because then I was telling people as we were eating at the table what their approximate dose was due to Fukushima from the food they were eating. It's just ridiculously small.
So it's funny, he's willing to feed it to his friends, yet, according to the Oregon State University, the papers that or the research he was working on with a group of other folks here, as you can see their names all above, it goes on to say here that the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear plant released a substantial radioactive contamination into the environment. With the predominant wind and current flow in this part of North Pacific, these radionuclides will gradually spread to the U.S. West Coast waters after a sustainable period of time. Suitable period of time, with the possibility of affecting food quality throughout the food web, including humans. Yes, here he is. He's admitted he did find radiation, some of it, although it's low. He's willing to feed it to his friends. And as I'd mentioned here, after Fukushima, I mentioned Fukushima Day 1045, after Fukushima meltdown, they raised the acceptable levels of radiation. So what wasn't acceptable on Monday suddenly became acceptable on Tuesday, as well as I've mentioned, the drinking water, for example. He goes on to say, or they go on to say, the migratory pathways of large pelagic fish extend from Japan to northern California current. These organisms can serve as transport vectors for these nuclides, especially given their capacity to concentrate radionuclides from surrounding waters and prey. So, although it may be safe to eat it right now, because you're only consuming a small amount, but those of us that believe in bioaccumulation, it's better to be safe than sorry, and different folks react to different ways to different levels of radiation. So it's not good to play radiation roulette with your life. Therefore, if you know it's already contaminated with small amounts, why risk the chance? It's not worth it. So my advice is to stay off the Fukushima foods, seafood, everything else. As we go on, this will only get worse, folks. I decided to do a little search to see if any other local fisheries might be affected. Yeah, it only gets worse, It's going to end up affecting everything. And, I showed in Fukushima Day 1045, it was just the chum salmon and the pink salmon. But the fact is, they all basically travel the same grounds. And if you saw the dispersion maps I've uploaded on Fukushima Day 995, this is going everywhere. And whatever comes in contact with it is going to be bioaccumulating all of the radiation. So the bigger the fish, the more radioactive it'll be. But don't worry, your government's going to be there to help you. Yeah, okay. You got to take care of yourself. Okay, that's it for this report. Hope you enjoyed it. Take care, folks.